Welcome back, my friends, to Enigmatic Echoes. I'm Jazz, and tonight's episode is one that many cultures fear to even name out loud: black magic. Now let's get something straight from the beginning. Magic itself isn't always sinister. In many places, it's simply a tool. White magic, healing, blessing, protection. Black magic, rituals said to harm, manipulate, or summon forces better left alone. The term comes from the Latin maleficium, which means harmful sorcery. And across centuries, across continents, it has worn different faces. Egyptian priests whispering over amulets, Mesopotamian scribes pressed curses into clay, European witches accused of dancing with the devil. But here's the thing. What one culture calls black magic, another may see as survival. Tonight, we're going to travel through those stories, piece by piece, until the shadows themselves feel closer than you'd like. Let's start way back. Ancient Egypt. They had a word for magic, Heka. It wasn't evil, it was life itself. Doctors, priests, even ordinary people used Heka to protect themselves. But those same spells could be twisted. Inscriptions were found with curses written on pottery, meant to shatter a rival's life. Move east, Mesopotamia. The Babylonians believed sorcery was so real, they created entire rituals to undo curses, what we'd call exorcisms today. Imagine living in a world where a neighbor could bury a tablet in the dirt, and suddenly your crops fail, your children fall sick, and even everyone knows you've been hexed. And then the Greeks and Romans, they loved a good curse tablet. Thin sheets of lead etched with words like, "May my enemy never win a single court case." Buried in graves, dropped in wells, black magic, or just a very dramatic Yelp review. You decide. But things shifted with Christianity. Suddenly, black magic wasn't just frowned on, it was heresy. To the church, magic linked you to the devil himself, and in the Middle Ages, that belief would lead to fires, trials, and bloodshed. So what does black magic actually look like? The ingredients may change, but the recipe is almost always the same. Rituals, intention, and belief. Candles lit at midnight, effigies, dolls or figures, meant to stand in for your victim, sometimes blood, sometimes offerings, always secrecy. The idea of summoning is central tool. In Europe, grimoires, books of spells, outlined how to call demons. The book even listed their names, ranks, and what favors they might grant, if you dared to bind them. But look wider. In the Caribbean, colonial powers labeled obeah or voodoo as black magic, though practitioners often use them for protection. In Indonesia, people whisper of palate spells, potions meant to make someone fall hopelessly in love. In Africa, the sorcerer himself is said to drain life from children. The line between white and black magic, it depends on who's telling the story. For one person, it's healing. For another, it's a curse. Now let's talk stories. You've heard of the Salem witch trials, right? Massachusetts, 1692? A town ripped apart by whispers of black magic. Girls claimed to see visions, neighbors pointing fingers, and by the end, 19 were executed, more than 200 accused. Was it really sorcery or mass hysteria? Perhaps both. Europe had its own tales, the infamous Black Mass. Whispers of secret midnight gatherings, crosses turned upside down, sacred words mocked. Historians debate if these rituals ever truly happened, or if they were inventions used to terrify, but the fear was real. Fast forward to Italy, 1930s. Leonarda, known as the soap maker of Correggio, she murdered women, boiled the remains, and claimed she did it to protect her family. She admitted to rituals, believing blood sacrifice was the shield. Terrifying? Absolutely. Black magic? In her mind, yes. And then today, in rural India, reports have surfaced of tantric, rights for wealth or revenge. In parts of Africa, accusations of witchcraft still led to violence. In Haiti, voodoo gets painted by Hollywood as black magic, yet in truth, it's a religion of balance, ancestors, and spirit. The shadows, they're very complicated. Let me take you into a few modern accounts. Malaysia, 1990s. A businessman swore his rivals cursed him with stantet. He fell ill, lost weight, doctors couldn't explain it. His family brought in a healer who performed a cleansing ritual. Within days, he said, the sickness lifted. Coincidence? Or curse broken? Zimbabwe. A villager once described to reporters how his cattle died, one after another, after he quarreled with a neighbor rumored to practice witchcraft. To him, it wasn't disease, it was an attack. And then closer to home, in the US, some occult practitioners today embrace the term black magic, not to harm, but to break taboos. For them, it's rebellion, not destruction. And I know, some of you listening may have your own stories. Maybe a family tale of the evil eye, maybe that one time everything went wrong after a curse was spoken in anger. If you felt it, you know the power is in the belief. So let's strip this down. It's black magic. Is it real? Psychologists talk about the power of suggestion. If you believe you've been cursed, your body reacts. Stress, insomnia, even sickness. It's called psychosomatic illness. Anthropologists call it voodoo death. People wasting away because they believe a curse has doomed them. But even if it's psychological, the effects are real. Whole communities shape themselves around the fear of black magic. Entire histories, witch hunts, exorcism, banishments were built on it. So maybe the spell isn't the candle, or the blood, or the chants. Maybe it's in us. Black magic, a phrase heavy with fear, mystery, and danger. From Egypt's Heka to Europeans' grimoires, from Salem to modern villages in Africa and Asia, it's always been here. Sometimes it's myth, sometimes it's a weapon, sometimes it's simply misunderstood. But always, it's a reflection of the human heart, our fear of the unknown, our hunger for power, our desperate need to explain what we can't control. And as you blow out the candle tonight, ask yourself, what do you believe lurks in the dark? A trick of the mind, or something whispering just out of reach? You've been listening to Enigmatic Echoes with Jazz. If tonight's journey through the shadows made you shiver, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Share your own experiences. Have you ever felt cursed? I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay cautious, because sometimes the darkest echoes are the ones we carry with us. Good night.